Hi everyone, welcome to our online event with Founders for Schools, which we are running today to celebrate International Women in Maths Day. My name is Neelam, I'll be hosting the session today. So students joining us, a big welcome to you all. Today you'll be hearing from our inspiring role models who have impressive and unique careers, and we are hoping by the end of the session you will have a better idea and understanding of the amazing jobs that are available that use maths every single day. So to the audience at school, your audio and video is turned off throughout the session, but you can still interact, ask questions using the chat function. There will be some questions coming up as well at the beginning and end of the session. So teachers, if you can answer those on behalf of your class of students, it's just a couple of interactive polls, so that'll be fantastic if you can do that. Also, we're recording the session and it will be featured on our YouTube channel. So we really hope you make the most of it and that you enjoy the session and you learn loads. So first of all, a really big thank you to our two guest speakers for volunteering your time. We really appreciate it, and we're really looking forward to hearing all about you. So today we have Nicole Keating, who works at Five Rings Capital, and Ayantika Mitra, who works at Tysix. Hope I said that right. So over to you. We'll start off with Nicole, if that's all right. So Nicole, what is your job title? What does that even mean? What is it that you actually do? If you can break that down and explain to the students. And also, this is a Maths for Girls session. We want to know why, where did your love and passion for maths come from? Do you love maths? And how have you developed your confidence and everything in between? So over to you. Thank you.
Sure. First of all, I think I've always loved maths, but the confidence has come much later in life. No, so I work as at a proprietary trading firm. My official title is the head of European trading. So what does that mean? You might have heard of trading that goes on at like a bank or a hedge fund. We're a little bit different than that. A proprietary trading firm takes the founder's money, whoever created the firm, we take only their money and we trade it in any financial market. And we just try to make more money, fund further research into different ideas, and trade more products. So, what I do on a day to day basis is look at a lot of different markets, mostly based in Europe right now, and try to find opportunities for making money. Now, I'm sure that is very vague, but a lot of what goes into that is very complex models to give us signals, and it involves a lot of data processing to come up with certain strategies. A lot of that is also, it requires a lot of software development. So I'm not a software developer, but we have a lot of those at our firm. I'm the one who's taking our software and I'm executing it in the best way. So I'm trying to use my own skills at analyzing markets to know how to parameterize certain things. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a great description, but that is my current role. I did not know what trading was when I was 18 or even 22 or anything like that. I was not interested in gambling ever, like some of my colleagues might have been. I didn't know what it was, but I went for an interview for this firm and they asked me a bunch of questions relating to the statistics involved in card games, and I thought that was super fun. And everyone I met was extremely smart. I loved the way that they talked about their job, and so that's what sort of drew me to this career. I took a chance on something I didn't really know how it was going to be like at all, and I'm so happy because I work with very smart people. And it all involves just everyone working together on neat ideas.
Amazing, thank you. And how did you actually get to where you are today? So if you take it back to, school, I mean, what was experience with maths growing up? And did you do anything in particular when you were at school to develop your confidence? Did you ever doubt your ability? And also, what did you do after school to get to where you are today? So university, apprenticeships, anything like that?
Sure. I tried to be part of math clubs in high school just because that's where my interests lie, and like the physics clubs, stuff like that. I just thought that was mostly fun. I think a lot of it was the social aspect. I thought everyone was really nice, and that's a part of what drew me to it, was that we were working on fun problems with a nice group of people. Um, when I got to university and started studying at a much higher level, I found math to be really, really hard. And it was very discouraging a lot of the time because it seemed like everyone else was maybe smarter than me because they were getting things faster. And of course, no one likes that feeling of being not as smart, inadequate, or just lacking a bit of confidence. But I just realized that everyone else was working extremely hard too. And I started mentoring or like tutoring people who were a year or two below me. And I just realized, oh, okay, I did learn something. I was able to get through it. And you don't have to have the perfect marks, but you get through it. And I found a group of people to study with, to commiserate with over tough exams. And that just really got me through.
That's actually really, really great advice. So mentoring, tutoring, and having study groups, and just, I suppose, taking a chance and trying different methods actually worked out for you, didn't it? Brilliant. So any advice that you could give to the young people watching today who may be in a similar position to yourself, where you had that kind of love for maths, but you did find it very difficult and challenging at a point? Any sort of final advice from you? Any final pointers?
Yeah, I think I would just hope that I had been told at that time that like it is hard for everyone. There's a lot going on in your life at that time, even outside of school. There's just so much more independence and responsibility that you get, and it's very daunting. And so, yeah, just remembering that it is hard for everyone, even if it doesn't seem like it. Not everyone wants to admit it. But if you just try your best, work hard. My dad always told me the harder I work, the luckier I get. So I just tried to do that and tried to pick up some luck through that.
Amazing. And a little bit about trading, actually, before we move over. So if you could boil it down to just one sentence, what problem do you help to solve through your trading, through your work and your role?
I think what trading boils down to is taking a large, large set of data where there's so much noise and distilling that down to its essence and trying to find the true signal in all of that data.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole, for sharing your story. So
Thank you.
we'll pause there just for the moment. We definitely will come back to you. And everyone watching in your classrooms, please do ask your questions in the chat function, and we will try our very best to address those towards the end. Thank you, Nicole. So Ayantika, over to you. Same questions. So what is your job title? What does that mean? What is it that you do? What problem are you trying to solve? And share your career story, please. Thank you.
So, hi everyone. So my job title might be a bit weird. It's technically Business Strategy Director. Now, what does that really mean? It just means that when you start a company, whether it's a startup, if you're an entrepreneur, or you're going into a more established business, everyone needs a plan for where you are today and where you want to get to. So when people ask, well, what's your plan for the next 5 years, it's really scary, right? It's how do you start to think about where you're going to be in 5 years? So and for a business, it's very much the same thing. So for me, it's my job. What it really entails is looking at where the business and the technology is today and where we want to get to. How do we grow the business? And so a bit of background about the company that I work for. So the company is called Sysix, and we do something that is really, really special, which no one else in the world does. We make really lightweight materials. So we make metal composites. Now, why is it special? So I've got a little metal tube here, which you might be able to see. It weighs about as much as one packet of crisps. So if you think one packet of Walker's crisps, that's all it weighs. That will carry an African elephant. It will carry the entire weight of an African elephant, or two Indian elephants, or two Range Rovers. So it's really, really strong, ultra light, but ultra strong materials. Now, for me, the reason why maths is so important, it helps me every day. I can't, when you're doing your GCSEs or you're studying maths and you think, why will I need to know tan, cosine, and cosine? Why will I need to know these things? And actually, every other week, I'll have some sort of little geometry question, and it'll be, oh no, I need to work out the tan. And I do vaguely, I draw the triangle, draw the angle, draw the opposite and the hypotenuse and all of that. So you actually, it might not seem like it now, but everything you're learning right now will be so useful to you, down the line and when you start working. So I guess in terms of career history, I'll be honest, I did my A levels in maths, further maths, physics, and chemistry. So I was always really into science and maths. Really, and again, as Nicole said, it's not that math. Everyone finds maths hard. It's not specific to any one person. Everyone finds it hard. I found it really hard. But again, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed, as Nicole said, the group of people, and we kind of sort of quieter, sort of introverted, maybe a bit nerdy, and I just fit into that group. And for me, you find it hard, but it's just persistence. You just keep going at it till you understand it. So I did my A levels, and I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought, should I do engineering? Should I go into banking and finance? Should I start my own business? So I took a gap year before starting university, and I worked in the city at a management consultancy. So what they do is they go into different businesses and try and solve a problem, but the problem is different each time, which was really interesting. So I spent 1 year doing that, and then obviously sort of did a maths degree. And I still pretty much had no idea. But one of the things that really struck me was, if you're trying to solve, there's a lot of problems out there that we can all, get involved in and try and solve. To me, what was really important was, how can I use sort of my skills and what I have to actually solve something? So for me, it was manufacturing. I actually work in an advanced manufacturing organization, which you think that a lot of people don't go into that, but actually there are a lot, and the UK in particular has lots of really, really exciting engineering businesses. So yeah, that's what I do, and that's how I found myself here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And what is it that you really enjoy about your current job? If you had to say there was one or two things that you really enjoy, what would that be?
That'd be really hard. It would be absolutely everything. What I would say is, when you're going into a job, you don't know that at the start. It's going into this big unknown, and you sort of you just work it out really as you go along. In terms of what I enjoy, I think it is just purely the technology and what we are able to do with it, because it really is world leading, and it's super exciting because we are, I spend my time working again with really smart people, developing something and being the first in the world to do something and develop something. So for me, that is super exciting. And for the business, our wider mission is to reduce emissions. So what we really work on are lightweighting aircraft. So again, if you take something that's really light, it's going to take this. If we replace this on an aircraft component, it would consume up to 70% less fuel, which means up to 70% less carbon dioxide emissions. So for us, it's really important that we progress this technology, and it's sort of fitting in really with, I don't know if you guys have come across this, but the United Nations has the global goals,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a set of goals which they encourage countries and organizations to all participate in. So what really excites me is that as a very small business in the UK, we get to do something to help those goals.
Amazing, thank you. And I mean, just touching on, reducing the impact on the environment, and just recently we celebrated Earth Day. A lot of students joined us as we put together an event for Earth Day. In case anyone's missed that, you can watch that back on our YouTube channel. Is there what are you doing as a company to obviously use maths, but also to protect and preserve the environment and help the planet?
I think for us, the key thing is doing things differently. So one of the things we look at is the global goals, which is responsible consumption and production. So, for example, in the industry that we work in aerospace, so aviation, so making planes and spacecraft, so satellites and things like that. Usually, in these sort of industries, they will take 1 ton, so 1,000 kilograms of a components, a metal components, and they will remove up to 970 kilograms. So there's like 930 kilograms. So there's 70 kilograms left from what was 1,000 kilogram component, which is a lot of waste. So, we have to really think about how we use our resources and really be efficient with it rather than just saying, no, it doesn't cost too much today. So we're just going to do what is cheapest rather than what is the most efficient and what wastes the least resource. So for us, we try to do things very differently. So we will try and reduce that waste where we will start with something that is, say, 90 kilos and take it down to 65, 70 kilos. So, we try and absolutely reduce that waste. So we're preserving our natural resources for future generations.
That sounds incredible and incredibly progressive as well as an organisation. Well done. So thank you so much. So I do have a question, and I'll bring Nicole back into the conversation if that's all right as well. So I'll ask the same question to you both. What is a day in the life of your job? So if you think about the very, as soon as you wake up till, bedtime, can you tell us a little bit about your day? Nicole, you can start off if that's okay.
Sure. So the day starts a bit early. Markets open and you've got to be ready to go. Whilst the markets are open, it is very intense because even like a few seconds of a delayed reaction can make the difference between a very good trade and a very bad one. So while the markets are open, you just have to be very focused. And I've learned to like that. I like that it's kind of high intensity, but also in a sense, like every minute is an opportunity for a fresh start. Because there's just there's different opportunities, a different set of data you're presented with. So so that's what I do for majority of the day. When trading closes, I have a few, maybe an hour or so left, and the goal is to think about how to make it easier for traders and as well how to maximize our P&L. So that could be software changes that you need to write a spec for, and that would be in like pseudocode or something as a way to communicate with the software developers for what you're trying to achieve. And then in general, there's, sort of project management, like big picture, making sure everyone on your team is happy and making sure that the direction of the firm and the desk are going in the way that you want. So to communicating with other desks, other people, and making sure things are working as properly.
Amazing. So long hours, would you say? Or
Yeah, a little bit long hours. I would say I work roughly 11 hours.
okay.
Which yes is quite long. However, I don't think about work when I leave, so
Mm.
that's really nice. I think you're able to really, because again, like each day is a fresh start, so you kind of don't have to worry, or you shouldn't stress about what's happened in the past. If anything went badly, if it went well, great, you can celebrate. But I think you get to really have your evenings, your weekends. You don't have to respond to emails, none of that. So in that, I mean, obviously there are pros and cons to that sort of a job, but I certainly enjoy that.
Yeah, amazing. And in terms of teams and working, unsupervised individually and independently, or do you have like lots of collaboration and lots of meetings where you're interacting with others? Because sometimes you often think trader it's kind of a sole role and you're kind of left to your own devices. Is that how it is, or are you part of a bigger team? And
No, so I'm part of a team of 3 people, and I would say the day is basically one long meeting. Like we're constantly talking and throwing ideas off of bouncing ideas off of one another. Yeah, I think yes, trading can have the reputation for being very solitary, but also because the trading floors are typically very open, in a sense, I also sort of sometimes wish I could just be on my own a little bit more because everyone is just hearing everything that's going on. And again, I mean that's great because we get to all pipe in and or chime in with different ideas. So that's what it's like.
that's brilliant. Thank you. Really great insights. Ayantika, same question for you. What's a typical day look like for you? I'm sure there's no two same days, but give it a go.
Yeah, so I think a typical day would be sort of get up, get ready for work, really start checking emails, just make sure that there's nothing that's super high priority that I've got to deal with absolutely immediately. But then start really, it's talking to the team. So because we have a very multidisciplinary team, which means that we have some engineers, we have some designers, and we have some manufacturing experts. So it's just checking with the team where they are on progress, just going around and sort of, again, it's very interactive, which I absolutely love, being able to talk to people and, just catch up with them. So see where the team is. And the rest of the day, it'll potentially be some meetings which are booked in. So it's just you plan for that, you prepare for the meetings beforehand. But otherwise, I also get to work on some of the technical side. So some of the work that I'm doing is how do you take machines and equipment and get data out of them. So you might have heard of things like Industry 4.0. So, where you're trying to get data out of machines and digitize everything. So that's what I spend my time on.
Amazing, thank you. And if you were recruiting right now and you were looking for young people to join your team, what are the top 3 or 4 skills that you think are essential to do your role? Ayantika, do you want to keep on going and then we'll hand over to Nicole?
We are actually recruiting at the moment, but I think the absolute top skill is enthusiasm. Is be excited about the work you're doing, and it'll be difficult because you won't know if it's a fit for you. But be excited to come into work and really just do your best, and that's it. That enthusiasm, I think, you can't replace it with anything else. The enthusiasm, bubbly energy. Number 2, study hard. So maths, this webinar isn't just to say, oh yeah, maths is great. It really is, because employers look for that. They will look when they do an interview, is find ways to understand that, do you know how to analyze something, which maths is super important for. So those are my top 2 tips.
That is brilliant. Thank you. I'm gonna quote that. Thank you. And Nicole, same for you. Top 3 or 4 skills that you'd look for if you
Sure,
were hiring.
I would have to agree with Ayantika that just having math skills is just 100% crucial. Everyone at the firm comes from a math background. If they're a software developer, then they have computer science. If they're trading, it's 100% math, or maybe some type of physics. So yes, that is the top skill, and it applies to other disciplines as well. I think having like a logical way of thinking, which is what you can get a lot from math, is really the number one skill. And then I think having a positive attitude, because it's not always going to be easy. There are going to be days where things aren't working so well, and it is a high stress environment. So not everyone's going to be super happy with you all the time. But I think just having some perspective that tomorrow is a new day, and and that you're going to be still willing to work on, give it your all. I think that's a very good skill to have.
Amazing. Thank you. So some transferable skills, definitely. Thank you. So as you know, we're celebrating International Women in Maths Day. I would love to understand if you had role models growing up, and if so, who were those role models? And the reason I ask is not everyone is fortunate enough to have a role model perhaps in their family, or a professional role model in their life. How important is that for you? And did you have a role model? And Nicole, we'll go with you first.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think my parents were really good role models for me. They didn't study maths at all. They didn't understand anything I was doing, but they encouraged me to just work really hard. As Ayantika said earlier, it just requires a lot of perseverance to get through a lot of the concepts, and they definitely were really good role models for that sort of tenacity that was required.
Brilliant. Ayantika, how about you? Any role models?
I would say I probably didn't have a specific role model, but I always wanted to be a rocket engineer. So I don't know if that counts, but I always wanted to sort of do something that involved space and launching things into space. And as Nicole said, for me as well, it was actually my parents, and just seeing them work really hard. I think that's something that, and it might not be your immediate family, but I think it's one of those things. It's people don't necessarily say this, but a lot of skill even comes, it's not natural. It is just you work very hard and you try, and it doesn't always work, but you just try again. And that's where, whether it comes to public speaking or absolutely anything, it is just working hard at it.
Brilliant, thank you. Any final advice from either of you? So there could be a young person watching this back or watching it live and thinking, still don't have any idea about what I want to do once they leave school. Is that okay? Is it okay if they haven't got it all figured out? What advice would you give? Go on, Nicole. I can see you.
Sure. No, I would just say that studying maths is a good start. The skill set that you gain from these kind of studies is just transferable to so many industries. So you don't have to have. I didn't have any idea like what I was gonna do with it. I dreamed about being an astronaut as a little girl, but yeah, you don't have to actually know what career you're gonna go into, but studying that if that's your interest, and not getting discouraged is just a really helpful thing to do.
Thank you. And the final words from you. Any advice there?
One of the things that I think I tried to do a lot of was just try lots of different little things. And even if the fact that you're watching this webinar is great, because it gives you, well, what are some of the possible careers? It doesn't mean that this is what, you have to do or what you should do, but watch different webinars, just watch different resources, and get an idea of what the different industries look like, what the jobs look like. And just inform yourself. You don't have to spend a lot of time, but if you do a bit every few weeks, then actually by the time you're coming to sort of thinking about going into university or A levels and not sure what to do, you'll just have a bit more of an idea. So speak to people. No, people don't normally mind talking about what they do, and yeah, I would say watch more resources like this. I think the fact that we have the internet and you can just do this is so useful.
Amazing. Well, thank you to the both of you for such engaging discussions and for answering all of my questions so well, and so you've just really given lots of information there, lots of food for thought. Thank you. I also would like to thank the teachers and students who are going to be watching this back. Thank you for joining, and you will be emailed a survey form for those of you who are watching live. Please do complete those. They're really important to us, and we do read every single response that we get. Look out for the recordings on our YouTube channel at Founders for Schools. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook as well. So you can follow us and give us a like there if that's okay. And look out for more online events coming up really, really soon. But thank you, Ayantika, and thank you, Nicole, for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm sure the young people watching will feel inspired and motivated just by listening to your stories. Thank you, and hope to see you again soon at a future event. Thanks. Bye now.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Bye.